Hey guys, so if you've been on my channel for a little while, you probably know that I use the grasp of Malok, or Malok, quite a lot. I've had this gun for a few months, and I was lucky enough to get a good roll very early on. After that, I tried to grind out some grasp of Malok, but I could never get another one, until obviously it was the nightfall, and now I'm just swimming in them. But I never got a god roll, at least nothing most people would consider a god roll, and you know, that's okay. You don't need the best roll ever to use a gun, sometimes it just works. I've been using mine, which is brace frame, rangefinder, and last resort or something like that, and it works for me. Some rolls are godlier to some people than others. What I mean by that is, some rolls are perfectly suited for one person while they're terrible for someone else. A lot of people in the subreddit are talking about a nerf that may or may not happen to low impact pulses like the Grasp of Malok. The time to kill is good, but you have to have a pretty perfect shot every time to achieve that time to kill. So ultimately I believe that if there is a nerf, it'll either be to stability or range on it, because it does have a lot of range and a decent amount of stability when you get brace frame or any stability perk really. But I'll talk about nerfs later on in the video. So first off, let's talk about PvE. I'm going to make this brief because I don't really play PvE too often unless it's something new. Pulses still aren't fantastic in PvE, in my opinion. There are two that are really great and like bad juju and no time to explain in certain situations, but most pulses reload too slowly, or they don't have enough bullets, or they just don't do enough damage. The last one is where the Grasp of Malok falls in. The damage is very minimal, but if you want a good PvE roll, here it is. Lots of reloading speed, that's what you want. Or just Will of Light, which would help with the raid if you wanted to use the Grasp of Malok instead of something more viable. So let's get into more of my area and talk about PvP. So the best scope is the red dot OAS. 4 out of 5 of the red dots are pretty good, but the best one is definitely, in my opinion, red dot OAS. And I've always said that. It has good aim assist, it's a good scope of, like, it has a good view, I guess, and it gives a little bit of stability, I believe. So it feels good. Moving on, perk 1 slot is best suited for counterbalance and rangefinder. There are other perks that work well in that slot for others, but those two perks make the gun amazing in its current state. I have one with counterbalance and fitted stock, and while I wish it was perfect balance and counterbalance, the recoil isn't so bad because it doesn't have any left or right sway, just a jerky up and down motion. Unless you're shooting at a wall, then you might see a little bit of right sway. And fitted stock helps, barely, but it helps, and I get to keep all 33 bullets, which is always nice. Next up is rangefinder. This is the one I've had for months, and this is my god roll, even if last resort is bottom tier perk for primaries. There are a lot of times where I win gunfights because of last resort. I can have one gun battle, reload very quickly if I'm the last man standing, and then immediately start fighting the next guy. No matter what anyone says, this perk is good in some situations, mostly only 3v3s and 2v2s. Really only 2v2s. I really like this perk in doubles. It helps a lot, but I have it on a sniper also, so it's kind of like a good combination of my primary and my sniper having last resort. Actually, talking about rangefinder now, I found a Reddit thread with probably outdated info, but it says rangefinder adds 25% of whatever range you already have on the gun. This is probably not entirely correct and kind of dumbed down, but whatever rangefinder actually does, it definitely feels like my reticle is stickier and further out ranges. Which is why this is a god roll for me, because I like to use my primary a lot in those long range engagements, or at least I used to when I shotgunned more often. Nowadays it's not an essential so much as a luxury. If there's a range nerf, this perk will probably be pretty helpful later on. And then finally, let's talk about normal brace frame Maloks with differing perks than the ones I've already mentioned. These are good, especially if you have red dot OAS. Those two in conjunction bump the gun into a great PvP contender even without any good perks. Those can make the gun a monster even if all you have is Guerrilla Fighter and something else that's just not useful. Sure, it's not gonna be the best, but it's better than nothing, and you won't lose any gunfights in intended ranges as long as you're a better shot than they are. I would talk about Headseeker and Glass Half Full and Secret Round, but I don't really think that they decrease the time to kill, and if I'm wrong about that, please tell me in the comments, but I just don't think they're particularly important on this kind of gun right now. If there is a damage nerf, however, then they might come in handy later on. So I've been hanging on to a couple of those. So finally, let's just talk about potential nerfs that could happen, just because I think that's kind of important. The Grasp of Malok seems to have better base range than the Hawksaw, I think, so I'd imagine they'd try to bring it in line with it and make it more like a burst fire SMG. I'm not really saying that they should do this, because I'd be really sad that I can't challenge snipers and scouts with this gun anymore, but it's the most reasonable nerf. Bringing the damage down would be a bad idea because they could easily nerf it too much and make the time to kill rounded out closer to a second, which is exactly what killed the Nerwin's Mercy pulse type. They probably shouldn't kill another section of pulse rifles off, in my opinion, at least. Anyway, video was kind of long, sorry about that. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.